Hello and welcome to the Paul Pierce episode of the Hoop Theory Podcast, aka episode 98, which is in honor of him being the best player selected in the 1998 NBA draft who does not already have an episode named after him. Recording this one on the morning of Monday, September 2nd in the year of our Lord 2024. My name is Logan Wertman, and as usual, I'm joined by my intelligible co-host, Jacob Roth. Jacob, how does it feel to be on the Paul Pierce episode?
I mean, it feels great. Honestly, I found out that is a gap in my jerseys. I don't have a Paul Pierce one.
Really? The Truth?
It feels crazy. I do not have a Truth jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a Rondo yet.
Oh, that would be a good one for you. That feels like you need to have one of those.
Yeah. I also think that part of it is because now they have all these different styles, so it makes it like in my brain, like, oh, this is a totally different thing instead of just a different name and number. But I got to get the Truth, and I got to get. There's a couple that I need to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just
Rondo
to fill out
is
your
one
collection.
of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna get a KG one.
Oh yeah,
but I think I might go like T-Wolves KG just to like have a different look because the essence is still there. You know,
and you're kind of a T-Wolves guy. Like
I am a sleeper T-Wolves guy.
Yeah,
not to the same level, but I am a sleeper T-Wolves guy.
Yeah. It's like one of your other teams. It's not like
it's my baby team.
Yeah.
My side piece.
Kind of like how I was with the Cavs at one point. I've kind of fallen out of love with them, to be honest. But
because Donovan Mitchell, I'm telling you, nobody likes that guy.
Yeah, ever since he's come,
I'm honestly in a fight for my life.
With what? Your lighting situation?
Yes.
Is that what's going on? I can't really tell because you guys probably can't see what I see on my Discord call, but Jacob has this jazz frog picture behind him. And it's like very spotty on how it's deciding what's his background and what is him. So it keeps like when you move back and forth, like in the camera, sometimes your head will disappear. So I can't even properly tell like, oh, is his lighting good? You know, everything's just kind of chaotic.
No, it is bad. It's we'll adapt. We'll figure it out. Oh, okay. I can't move. I'm here. I'm locked into this position for the next 90 minutes.
All right. It'll turn out fine, I'm sure. But I guess before we jump into anything, first off, I'd like to just say sorry to all the fans out there who are, trying to get some good quality content from us in this off season. It's been a little bit spotty, especially the last couple weeks. Things have been a little wild for me. I went on vacation, like I mentioned in the last episode, for a week, and then a couple days right after I got back from that vacation, then I got probably the worst sickness I've ever had in my life, which was COVID. And I've had COVID 3 times now. The other times were like nothing. I thought it was kind of like a joke that it was, it seemed like I just didn't really get that many symptoms and all of the symptoms were just pretty muted. But this time it really kicked my butt. I was not able to like swallow anything for a few days. It was pretty rough. And I've had some pretty wild sicknesses before. I've had mono, strep, walking pneumonia, the whole 9. But this one was right up there with any of those. So, honestly, one of the days I was like, if I have another day like this one, I'm just going to go to the ER and have them knock me out and like just be on an IV until this passes because I can't do this. But, so I was not able to get much done in terms of putting out clips or, recording or editing podcast episodes for a little while, but we are back into the groove of things now. So thank you guys for listening. Please be sure to hit us up on Patreon or buy me a coffee if you would like to support us. That's patreon.com/hooptheory and buymeacoffee.com/hooptheory. All our links can also be found in the description of both the show and the episode, wherever you're watching or listening to this. We would also greatly appreciate it if you would rate the show, leave a like or a comment. Of course, be sure to subscribe and follow the feed. And lastly, we'd also love it if you sent something into our mailbag for us to read and react to. basketball related or otherwise, you can send those over to hooptheory.mailbag@gmail.com. And without further ado, let's get into the rest of today's show. Jacob's lighting looks a lot better. If anybody wanted an update on that.
Also, I got this from my office, so that's pretty sick.
Nice.
We're gonna have to make a new background.
Retro Patriots helmet.
Yeah, they only wore it for a couple years because usually the Patriots ones have a white face mask. Oops, didn't mean to hit my mic there. But I like the red ones, and they had those for a couple years before they went to the blueberry blues. Like they're like bright blue. It's like the kind of the first step of the Patriots logo that we have today.
I remember
Bledsoe wore them. Famously, they lost to the Green Bay Packers wearing them in the Super Bowl. But yeah,
unfortunate.
Yeah, it was kind of ugly. Not as ugly as 85, but it was ugly. Anyway, there's that. Also, speaking of mailbag, I have a mailbag-esque question for you, Logan.
Oh, yeah?
This is not from our mailbag. It's from a different mailbag. I believe it's the mismatch, I think. Anyway, I was listening to their one of their later episodes, more recent episodes, rather. And they were asked by a gentleman, I'm not from the U.S., I'm planning a trip. What NBA arena should I go to?
Oh. Huh. I feel like I remember hearing this question before, but it felt like a long time ago. So maybe it's just a repeat question of like a different show or something.
But the first one that came to my mind was the same one that they came up with. But Logan, someone that is not stateside is making a concern. This is a big trip.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Which
and they can go anywhere. Like anywhere is up for grabs. Yeah,
like there's no driving. Just go wherever. What place would you send them? The first one that I thought of was what I'm almost positive it was the mismatch. Is what they said. But I'm just curious because like I thought it was an interesting like thought to be like, there's a couple different avenues you go. Anyway,
yeah.
No team allegiance from what this person made it sound like. They're just a fan of basketball.
That makes sense. So I would say, I think there's a pretty clear number one. If we're just talking about like NBA arenas, that's the only thing we're talking about here is, I'd say Madison Square Garden.
That was what they said right away, and that's the first one that popped into my mind. Just find a game where they're playing a good team. Yeah, because Madison Square Garden is going to be insane. Like that has to be number one.
And I haven't been to any of the arenas on this list other than one, so I guess I'm not like a great person to ask when it comes to this. I just go based off of things I've heard from other people and seen kind of on TV.
You could also treat it as like your wish list, like obviously taking out fan bias. Like what stadiums would you feel like as a just pure basketball fan would be the ones you'd want to hit?
I mean, TD Garden's like super iconic. I don't know if there's like. So, I mean, that would be definitely really high up the list for sure. TD Garden with the Boston Celtics. And then maybe like, honestly, I've heard a lot about OKC's arena over the years.
The Chesapeake.
Yeah.
Chesapeake Arena.
At least that was what it was called at one point. It might be still. I have no idea.
It might be something energy now that I said that out loud. I feel like it's not Chesapeake anymore.
Yeah, it's just judging based off of how often arenas change their names. It feels like it was Chesapeake like back in the early KD with the Thunder days.
It was Chesapeake until 2021, and now it is the Paycom Center.
Oh, yeah, I knew that. Paycom Center. Yeah. But I've just heard that that's like it's compared to a lot, especially in their heyday when they had like, the big Thunder team that went to the finals in 2012. It's often compared to like a college environment. Like it's like college sports vibes
type of
how the fan base is. Yeah. Very energized. And because, it's their only pro sports team in a pretty wide radius. Honestly,
they kind of hit a dead spot. There's Kansas City, but especially if you're a basketball fan, you're on an island. It's a big old island there in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I guess Dallas is only like 3 hours away, but then every other direction though is like nothing.
Yeah. And I think that's where they attract a lot of people. Is probably from the north, east, and west.
They don't feel connected enough to Texas
or Dallas, and Dallas is almost its own thing.
Not like even Texas.
I feel like, it's like a different entity almost. Like it obviously isn't, but I feel like if someone lives on the Oklahoma and Texas border, but they live in Texas, I wouldn't be shocked if they'd be Thunder fans as opposed to Dallas fans. It's like a weird
they're
thing.
Not like in
but
the actual
also,
metro.
The novel, like the newness, also might hurt them in that aspect of like, well, it's the Mavericks. Like they've been here for
Since
a long
the 80s.
time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, no, that's true.
they brought up one thing, and this was my other thing that I thought was an interesting thought, is going to LA and seeing the, not Staples, but the Crypto Arena and the Inuit Dome. Because that's supposed to be this new, never before experienced experience.
Yeah, the Clippers one. Mm-hmm.
So finding a weekend where the Clippers and the Lakers both are playing at home and catching both. So you get like an iconic type of place.
Yeah.
With a lot, not as much history, but some history in it. And then you go see this new built for basketball fans, by a basketball fan type of arena. That would be also a cool
It's supposed to be
thing.
unlike anything that it's been built before. So that would be definitely one to go see.
And you'd catch two of them. Like you get, like that'd be cool. But obviously, if I were to make my list, TD Garden would be, I don't know if it'd be above Madison Square Garden, but it'd be closer than most people probably would have it.
Yeah.
Madison Square Garden's like its own, and it's like a different monstrosity.
Yeah,
like,
just the energy and the history.
I almost equate it to like Nebraska's football stadium, because even when we're bad, it's an experience.
Oh, yeah.
And MSG, I feel like, is a similar, even when the Knicks are bad, it's an experience. So I feel like when they're
for sure
good to maybe even elite, it has to be nutso.
Yeah, no, New York Knicks fans they seem like some of the most psychotic people in the world. Like, it's pretty, I think Sixers is probably like Philadelphia fans, that they probably are in a similar boat, but just like a scaled down version.
I have a different line. Every Philadelphia sports fan I put in the delusion category. Knicks fans at least knew they were bad, and then like would only have like insane amounts of hope if something big happened. But like when the Knicks were bad, they're like, okay, we're bad. Maybe LeBron will come. But like the Sixers are like, it's just a different level of delusion to me.
They were rooting for being bad. They were like, we are bad and we want to be bad for a long time.
I also am having like the Eagles and the Phillies and everything else that's Philadelphia bleed into it.
Yeah.
More than just straight Sixers. Because like the Eagles will be like, you look at their schedule years past, they're going to be a 5-win team. And they'll be like, we could win the NFC East this year. And you're like, wow, that's insanity. That's crazy.
I feel like most Sixers fans don't talk about the Sixers like they have high ambitions. They're usually like,
I think they've been beaten down.
Yeah. But like, as far as I can remember, like in my basketball life, paying attention to the NBA, Sixers fans are usually like, oh, Embiid is going to get hurt. And, like we're all going to be cheering for this team that does well in the regular season and then just loses in the first round or the second round.
We also could propose they just do a trip. They just have a week and they try and find a week where Boston's at home, the Knicks are at home, the Sixers are at home, and just kind of hit all those. That could be also a similar, because those are like not exactly as convenient as going to the two LA stadiums, but
but it's
still
somewhat
rather manageable.
I think it's like probably 2.5 hours from Philly to Boston, maybe. And then New York's right between there. And you can go see Barclays while you're at it. You can go see the
if
Nets.
you wanted to just see pain.
I mean, it's a really nice arena, but it is a not that great team. That's for sure. And that's putting it very lightly. Might be the worst team in the NBA this year.
Yeah, they're going to be, I think, terrible. Like,
yeah, they've got nothing going for them.
No, it's like the only thing they have going for them needs to be sent away for the health of the future. Like the only Cam Thomas is a little exciting. Send him to someone that's good for more than he's worth because they want what he does now. We'll talk about that more when we do our over-under season breakdowns for each team. But the Nets, I'm sorry. Don't listen to that episode, Nets fans, because I'm going to be brutal. It's not looking great.
Yeah.
I was sitting there looking and I was like, I didn't realize they could be this bad. And it's that bad.
I respect them just fully going for it, ahead of the Cooper
they're fully
Flag draft.
going, we need Cooper Flag.
Yeah.
End of discussion.
Yeah. Instead of just trying to hold on to Mikal Bridges and stay in the middle, and very low middle. And,
like
for no
the
reason.
bottom of the middle. The worst place to be in basketball.
Yeah.
Just the absolute worst.
Michael Jordan's favorite spot as a basketball owner because he, just as he like how he was as a player, except his team doesn't have Michael Jordan playing for them, so it doesn't work as well. Where he's never try to lose, you always try to win, no matter what the talent on the team is. You have to try to compete.
Yeah, but the fundamental difference is they had Michael Kidd-Gilchrist and the Bulls had Michael Jordan.
Yeah, exactly.
Same first name. Different people, shockingly. So shout out to the Hornets ownership. Isn't it changing slightly, or did?
Yeah, he's not the majority owner anymore. I don't know who is, but he's not making the shots or calling the shots there anymore. But it's still the same front office, I believe, with Mitch Kupchak doing things
running
there.
The show.
Yeah. But without further ado, though, we could probably get into the meat of this episode, the point of this episode, which is the top 10 players in the world right now.
The second annual Hoop Theory top 10 going into the 2024 NBA season to see who will be crowned world champion again.
2025.
Oh, yeah, 2025 season.
Going back
Starts
to
in 2024.
your football brain.
I'm dumb.
No,
anyway.
it's all right. 2025 NBA season. Yeah. So we'll just to clarify that, we're not going to be projecting anything, guessing who's going to be better than they have been previously or taking a jump or anything like that. We're just going based off of what we've seen so far, where we think these players should be listed heading into the year. And then from there, we can kind of jump into some side discussions about what players we could see vault themselves higher in the list with, the situation that they're going into this season or something like that.
Like an example last year is we talked at sort of depth about Anthony Edwards and Shea last year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think I had Shea in my top 10 and you had him
at 14
in your honorable mention area.
Yeah.
But it was kind of the same thought of we're not trying to project, it's going in, what is the perception that you have right now, game 1 of the NBA season, come October 20, whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess, and we didn't even decide. I just remembered we were talking before the episode started about what order we were going to go in this year. Last year we started at 1 and went down to 10. This year, I don't know. We have to decide that now, though. What order do you want to go in? Do you think it's best to start at the top?
It's okay. So I think the hardest spot is 10.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Kind of 9. They're all tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me too.
So we could start at 1. I know that's not the normal way to go through a list. I think things get interesting after 1, as opposed to last year. The first 3, you're well, these are the 3 people. It's not really a question. But we could start at 1. It won't be as I'll just kind of we could start at 1. That's probably the best idea.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we should go that way too, to be honest. So starting at 1, I'm guessing we both have the same guy here, and that's the same guy we had last year at number 1, and that is Nikola Jokic, Big Honey.
Which I loved the video of him looking like a psychopath chasing down Goran Dragic, Zoran.
Yeah, his nephew.
Zoran Dragic, his nephew.
Yeah.
But just hit this little kid running, and then Jokic bearded, full. I'm gonna block this shot mode.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened on the play. I just saw the picture.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't even know either.
I just saw that and it just made me laugh because he's focused, red. He's got his beard. It just is. But I
don't even know what game that was, but there was
It was the Goran Dragic farewell to basketball game, essentially.
So I noticed that it was just a bunch of Euro players. It was a lot of them. It's a bunch of
Goran Dragic's just friends, essentially. There was a draft. Because I think the 2 captains were Luka and Dragic, I think, were the 2 captains, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Luis Scola was the number 2 pick. It was fun.
Oh, it was not even a Euro player was over there too.
It was just fun. It was just I'm
Argentinian.
not positive on that, but he was taken early-ish.
Yeah, no, I believe it. Because at first when I saw Luka and Jokic, then Boban, like I thought it was like a bunch of Balkan player. I thought it was like a Balkan All-Star game or something. And then I saw like Franz, maybe, I don't remember. There was somebody from like not the Balkans who was there.
Chris
I was
Bosh
like, oh.
also was there.
Oh, Chris Bosh, I guess because they're Miami days.
I'm pretty sure he was there.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. No, that's fun though. That's
I don't know if he played, but I think he was there.
So it's like his retirement party. Is that basically what it was?
In an essence, you could call it that.
Nice. That's pretty cool. I've never seen somebody
The
do
Night
something like
of
that.
the Dragon.
Yeah.
Steve Nash played. Chris Bosh played. Dirk, Jokic, Luka. It was just a big charity fundraiser,
Dirk
but it was
played?
his. Dirk was there. Former NBA teammates Steve Nash and Chris Bosh joined with international legends such as Dirk and Jokic during his final high-profile appearance on the basketball court. So maybe Dirk didn't play, but he was definitely there.
I want to see that.
I do remember seeing that Steve Nash did play.
Yeah, I can imagine that more. That Dirk like can't move anymore. It feels like, you know what I mean. But yeah, that would be interesting to see. Yeah, him and Steve Nash, I guess, because all those years Dragic was Steve Nash's backup. All the connections there. But anyways, we've started our list. We went into a little bit of a side tangent, but Nikola Jokic is number one on both of our lists. I think he's still pretty solidly the best player in the world. And I don't see that changing really this season, to be honest. There maybe in a couple years from a pretty young player who I don't know if he's going to be on the radar for this episode or not. Might be. I have him written. I have 22 names written down, and he is one of the names I've written down, and that is Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah.
So,
I have him written in an honorable mention category, but we'll probably do that like around 5, like say a bunch of honorable mentions, or we can do it at the end, whatever works.
Mm-hmm.
But he is on my list of names also.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess from here, this is where it gets a little bit interesting because the way I've kind of broken this down in tiers. Tier 1 is just Jokic by himself.
Yep. Because it's not really a question to me, at least.
Tier 2, I have 2 guys.
I also have 2 guys.
Okay, and I guess
knowing you, I bet our order's different.
All right.
I'm almost guaranteeing. So, do you want to say that like my 2 guys, Luka and Giannis? Those are the 2.
Those are the 2 guys. While I've been preparing the notes for this episode, I've literally flipped them around once or twice. So I'm interested to see which order you think I did.
Luka first.
Like that's what you would guess I would do?
Almost always.
I was so close. I was so close to not doing that, but I literally had it typed out in the different order, the other order before.
So this is my quick notes that I wrote for Giannis because I have Giannis at 2. 2A and 2B with Luka. I lean his way due to defense, and I'm a little bit of a. I'm not going to say the word that I wrote, but I'm a big fan of good defense. It gets me going. I'm a big fan. Guys that are good at defense are better in my brain than they actually are most of the time. Like, I put more weight on defense than a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
I think the reason that people, like, some people probably have, like, Giannis at 5 and they're crazy people, but it's because he's had quiet playoffs due to injuries, and people just got, like, sick of hearing Giannis all the time. I think that's, like, part of the issues, and then last year was kind of a bummer, but that was injuries with him, and then the Dame thing, which I want to talk about that more because I've thought about it more. That whole dynamic between the two of them.
Oh.
I think it's just going to be a weird year. I don't think that they'll be bad again, but we can talk about that when we have more time to do so. Anyway, I just have Giannis at 2 because the defense was the biggest thing for me. Being so like he's an anchor on defense and not what Luka is, which is a borderline liability. He got better in the playoffs, a lot better. But even then, like Luka's defense is why they lost the finals in 5 instead of making it an actual series. I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, I don't think that's a crazy take at all, but that's why I had Giannis 2 over Luka. And you can probably shout Luka's praise better than I can, so I'll just kind of let you do that. But Luka is very good. I've only said bad things, but it's just because I don't think he's above Giannis in my brain.
Yeah, I just think Luka's on a whole different level offensively than Giannis, and sometimes I prefer the like in a team building aspect, I prefer like the highest ceiling for like the highest player, like the best player, and then like prioritizing defense and the other pieces like around them, you know?
Yeah.
Also, when I had Giannis's name above Luka, and then like I was like, how does this sit with me? Like I was reflecting on it a little bit. The thing that made me change was like literally just thinking about every time Luka's been in the playoffs in big moments, how it's like he's constantly like, I am that guy. I am this dude. And just constantly delivering. And I'm like, and Giannis is like pretty spotty back and forth. A lot of like either injuries or times where it's like he's not performing under pressure in the best way possible, especially like in the clutch. Just not, I mean, when he's your primary ball handler, go-to scorer down the stretch of games, a lot of times it's just he has very poor shot selection, and makes odd decisions at times. It's a little bit of a Russell Westbrook factor in some ways, which is just not always the best coming from your number one guy, especially when we're trying to split hairs, here with the very best of the best.
Because of how close they are, it is a splitting hair scenario.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't mind somebody putting Giannis at 2 for all the reasons that you stated. But I just, in my mind, I'm like, Luka, who would I rather have in a playoff series going to war, basically? I'm like, Luka's just, I feel way more confidence in him carrying me as high as he can take me,
Yeah.
So that's why I leaned Luka.
And that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And then this is where it gets even more interesting to me, because this is, as hard as that tier was to decide the order of, this tier is even harder for me. This is tier 3, and it is a tier of 3 names.
See, we're on the same page so far. The orders might not be the same, but if I were to tier it out, it's the same 3 names.
I doubt it's the same 3 names.
Oh,
I doubt.
I think you doubt me.
Do you have Tatum in here?
No.
Really?
If we're going into this season, he can't shoot.
I suppose. I mean, he couldn't shoot in the. Yeah, I guess
He hasn't been able to shoot since there was snow on the ground, and we're almost done with summer.
Okay, I respect that. I
slaved over this for a while.
You refer to Tatum as top 5 all the time, or like 6th. I've never heard you say a number that's lower than that.
Well, because also I had to get out of defense mode. I was in turtle mode because he's not what people are saying he is in terms of how bad.
Yeah, there's some people who said that he's not top 50 and stuff like that, which is just stupid.
That's people that are just really, really dumb. But
yeah,
like, I don't have him. He's the next person outside of this tier of 3.
Mm.
And I think he's almost like so much above the one below that he's in his own tier.
Oh,
but
okay.
if we're strictly taking it, anyway, we can.
Yeah. No, yeah.
We can talk about him when we get to him, but I'd imagine we have the same 3 names, but maybe not. I don't know.
Okay, then I do feel a lot more confident about those 3 names being the same. My first name here, I really could go any order here, and I had different person here at 4 just a little bit ago. But the guy I feel best about at number 4 at the current moment is Stephen Curry.
Oh, we do not have the same 3 names. Never mind.
You don't have Steph Curry in the top 7?
No.
That's insane to me. That is absolutely bonkers.
Honestly, yeah, I don't. Kind of forgot about him. Like, I didn't think about him that hard. Like, I make this list, and then I just kind of went.
Is he in your list at all?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't forget.
Okay, yeah.
But I did forget, and then I threw him in a spot, and I didn't have time to really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know how
we both had him at 3 last year.
Yeah. Did not have him there.
Mm.
I'm high on youth.
So that's where I'm going to put Steph from now. I mean, I could see him sliding quite a bit just because of everybody else advancing and him declining this next season. But heading into the season, I do feel best about him at 4. But definitely could range down to 6 for me. That's kind of his range for me. Who do you have at 4?
I have the young GOAT, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Okay.
That's who I have at 4.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, like, if Shai even makes another, like, half jump from what he did last year, Shai is crazy. And I know we're not, like, this isn't supposed to be projecting in, but I already feel like Shea is like that guy. Like he almost didn't out Luka, but like the rest of his team looked terrible against the Mavericks, except for him, and it still was almost a series.
Yeah,
like
no, it was definitely a series. It was a 6-game series, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a 6.
And it was very close. Game 6, I think.
He did not let his team down at all in any way, shape, or form. I think the thing that I also really like about Shea is and this is the same thing for Curry, but I feel like Shea has one of the best young feels for like what he needs to do for his team. It's almost like he's like the best role player in the top 10. Because obviously he's like the star, but like he does a good job of, unless your name is Josh Giddey, like playing around everybody else.
I mean, I don't necessarily think
I'm
he's
trying
bad
to think how I'm trying to think how I word it.
Yeah, I'm just surprised you said that he's the best role player in the top 10 when we have Steph and Jokic and even Tatum and Booker and KD-ish.
I wish I would have wrote more notes because I would have articulated stuff better. I literally just wrote young GOAT.
Yeah.
That's all I wrote.
I don't have any notes. I just have their names.
And I spelled young, Y-E-N-U-N-G. Young. Like, I forgot the O.
Y-U-N-G?
Y-U-N-G. I just forgot the O.
You forgot it?
Just a speed typing.
Doing like a young lean or, some rappers that do.
Nope. I just put young GOAT and I didn't hit the O. I just like Shea a lot.
Yeah, no, I'm
trying to think of what word I was trying to say. It's not role player. He's like a selfish, selfless star. I don't know how to put that. It's like, I'm just a fan. Big fan.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that him just scoring in anywhere, honestly, like his 3-point shot is like the numbers aren't always the best, but every time that I watch him, I feel like he can shoot. Like whenever he does shoot threes that I'm watching, they always go in. And he's also just like so crafty with how he gets to his spots in the mid range. Like he's probably the best player at like just getting to a spot and rising up from like 8 or 9 feet out, 10 to 12 area probably. Like he's probably the best at that since like prime KD, to be honest. So. And then him just getting to the rim, leading the league in drives like almost every season since he's been at his peak. And then also getting to the line a ton. In much more of a respectable way than like Embiid's foul baiting or like Prime Harden's,
he earns the charity stripe.
Mm-hmm. So I don't mind seeing Shea at 4, to be honest, at all. And that doesn't really surprise me at all either. But number 5 for me, I'm actually going to go with Joel Embiid. I'm going to leave Shea at 6. So Embiid is going to be my 5. Is he in your tier here?
He is in my tier, but he's not at 5. This is where I'm going to catch a little bit of flame, I think. But you talk about Joel Embiid.
6? There's plenty of people who like...
No. The name I have at 5. But we can...
Oh.
We'll talk about Joel Embiid and then we can jump to my 5.
Who in the world do you have?
See,
I think I know
who it is. Yeah,
I think I do.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. But yeah, Joel Embiid, just the absolute tear he went on last season. I feel like a lot of people just forgot about it after he got hurt.
How good it was? Yeah.
After he got hurt, and then we saw him like get hurt again in the postseason and not play super well in the Olympics for most of the stretch there. I think his stock has been just kind of going down quite a bit, but like, I don't know, just even in the postseason, playing through his injuries, having that huge game, whatever it was, where he scored 50. I don't think it was 6. I think it was earlier, a little bit earlier. It was like game 4, maybe.
Maybe it was 3. Was it their first game back at home?
I'm not going to be able to remember what game it was exactly, but I just know it wasn't one of the last ones. I don't think it was.
Tyrese Maxey had the insane game 6 to make it go to 7. Or game 5.
5 to make it go to 6, yeah. Because I think they lost to the Knicks in 6. But yeah, so I have Embiid at 5 just for all, like, him scoring more points than minutes this past season, which is he's the only player to do that ever other than Wilt Chamberlain once. So that's just insane. And I think deserves to, slide him up a little bit on people's lists. So I'm going to put him here at 5. We still need to see him have like a fully healthy, like, playoff, like postseason run that we know he's capable of, or we assume he is. Like, I feel like that's coming at one point, hopefully.
The thing that's tough is he's 30.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not saying it's not
he's still
possible.
Got a few years, for
but
sure.
with the injury, yeah, he's got a couple more chances, but we're like running out of. I feel like it's
at least a couple more chances. Could be a lot more than a couple, but could be up to like 6. Who knows?
Yes, but with the injuries that he's had previously, I feel like the people that usually are super good for that long aren't injury prone to start with.
But who's the last person you've even seen like just completely fade out of being that good? Like at that, like, it's just like, it seems like at this point, everybody is sustaining their peak at least to like 35. And it's weird when they're at least
somebody that like felt. Yeah, I'm tracking now.
Like when somebody doesn't do that nowadays, it feels weird almost. Like the fact that, and Clay's like already, like Clay's like 35, 36, and it feels weird how much of a drop off he's had. Exactly.
So what you're saying is we have 10 more years of the Jays, essentially.
10, yeah, probably.
That's crazy to think.
If they stay together.
Don't say that. Keep that in your mouth. Don't even put that in the world.
Yeah, so that's why, I feel like Embiid does have some time left. It's not as
I'm not saying it's like almost over, but in my brain, it's changed from like it changed from when he's going to have that like playoffs where he stays healthy and he's there to like if. Because like it felt like it was inevitable for it to happen once, but now my brain is like, well, we're running out of seasons and the East is really good. Like, and not that would inhibit him from being able to do it because he's that good. He could do it to just about any team.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't necessarily need to go all the way and win a championship, but like see him and have a run where it's like he did everything he could.
He was not hindered, and that's not why they lost.
And at least get to like the conference finals or lose to the person the team that goes on to win it all in the second round, or something like that. But I feel like that's definitely in the cards still and very possible. So hopefully, just for his sake, it happens, because it is unfortunate how a lot of his the bigger moments of his career has gone. Like we said a few episodes ago, the biggest moment of his basketball career so far has probably been that semifinal game against Serbia in the Olympics. Might have been the biggest basketball moment of his life, which is pretty wild. But it was an insane game and an insane performance from him, for sure. So, and I think that honestly should help make a lot of Philly fans feel pretty confident going into this year of like seeing him like deliver in such a big way in such a big moment.
When he looked so terrible around that moment.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's why I feel good about Embiid at 5. And then, like I said, who do you have at 5? Actually, we haven't got to that reveal yet.
Anthony Edwards.
Okay, that's who I thought it would probably be.
I just love Ant so much. There's no one on this planet on a basketball court that I'm watching, and if I want my team to win, I'm genuinely scared. It's Ant. And that seemed like...
Wait, say that sentence one more time.
He is he alone is on the top of the list of the ball is in his hands, and I am worried.
How do you not feel that way about Jokic? After all that he's did, like destroy, like the last couple of years now, every time he plays the Celtics, like in the clutch,
just Ant. It's just Ant.
How many clutch moments has Ant had against the Celtics?
I thought I was viewing this as a basketball team, just in general. I'm saying if anybody. Well, against the Celtics, also the way they're built, Jokic is going to be way better, because Ant, you can throw 4 people on him that are all built to like try to stop Ant. There's 4 different like all defensive type of players that can deal with Ant.
Yeah, but you used to say, we both used to say that Celtics were also one of the best teams built to defend Jokic because of their...
Like 2 years ago before Jokic broke the world even worse than it was before. Because now the whole like, make Jokic score, that's how you beat them. He just says, okay. It doesn't take him 2 quarters to start shooting like that.
But also the Celtics do have a guy to guard him on ball, and then they have very, very good weak side rim protection, which is like the main. Yeah. That's like the main ingredient for stopping Jokic, and then having all of those wings around him to guard the entry passes into the post and all that kind of stuff. It's a pretty good formula for guarding Jokic. But
the Boston Celtics have a very good defense.
Yeah,
yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, it's not like they're that much more equipped to stop Ant than they are Jokic. Like in per capita, or proportionally.
I also think because a lot of the time the Ant buckets are like daggers through your soul. I'm not saying Jokic doesn't hit those either, but like I've just watched too many Ant shots where you're like, well, this is dumb. Why did that happen? Jokic, it's almost like Jokic has just done it too long. I expect it. I expect the stupidity to happen. I expect the Sombor shuffles. I expect this random crazy outlook. I expect all these things. Ant just does it, and then he gets in your face, and he makes you mad, and it strikes fear into your soul. And then he walks up to Kevin Durant and says, I'm him, you're old. In the middle of a playoff series, before things are even over. That was game 1 he did this. Like, and maybe it's more of just like the aura, as the youth say, around Ant that makes me more like, dude, man, I didn't think that would be taken as a dig at Jokic because it wasn't. It just was.
Well, you said that he strikes more fear than anybody on this list. It's like Jokic, especially in the clutch, is like.
And to me, in my brain, he does. I don't care about Lakers fans. But to me, this is my list.
Okay. All right. I just disagree with your point, I guess. But
you disagree with my completely objective opinion? Subjective opinion. Sorry, I said the wrong word.
I disagree with your reasoning for it.
On how it makes me feel?
Yeah. I think it's irrational.
I think whatever.
That's fair. I can have a subjective opinion about your subjective opinion.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to do that?
Yeah, for sure. But no, Ant is crazy.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Who's the person that you're the most scared of on this list?
Jokic. I mean, I would be Jokic theoretically,
but you can't be because it's not. He's never done it to the Nuggets.
Okay, then it would be either Luka or Shea, probably.
Not even Ant. Then
Ant would be up there with the next couple names, but I'd say LeBron maybe too.
This is unrelated thing. The other reason I have Ant here is the defense side. That also just makes my heart happy.
Yeah.
That he's just turned into a defender. Like it was brought up because he's got the tools to be a really good defender, and if he works at it, and then now he does, and he's just awesome defensively, and that makes my little defensive heart happy.
Yeah. So, the thing I think that's holding me back from putting him all the way up here at 5 is just the moments on both sides of the ball that even though he's
just dumb.
Yeah, exactly. Even though he's so talented and has all these capabilities, sometimes he makes pretty massive errors in big moments because of his youth. He's not super developed yet.
Also, I'm probably struggling to remove the team from the player. Like the Thunder are up here. The T-Wolves are up here. Those are 2 teams that I am notoriously always high on. No, but I'm saying that as opposed to Shea being at 5 or 6, or Ant being probably at 8 if he's not up here. I don't know where you have him, but somewhere Ant's top 10. Or do you not have him as top 10 at all?
I don't know yet, but he's in a tier that is bordering the 10. There's some on either side of 10.
Because I also decided that this year I was not going to give people injury benefit of the doubt. I did it with Kawhi last year, and if
is that why you don't have Embiid here?
That was why Embiid was lower. That's why AD is going to only be an honorable mention, even though I think if AD's healthy, he is a top 10 guy without a question. Mm-hmm. And it's also hard because we have so many players that are good. Calling a guy not top 10 feels wrong, but you're like, there's just that many people that are insanely good at basketball.
Yeah, especially when you talked about how you get such a proverbial hard-on for defense. Yeah, and AD is not even top 10.
It's just because of the injury thing.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, no.
So I've decided that I will try not to. I've decided that this year, because last year there was a benefit of the doubt given for injuries, and I'm not going to do that this year. I didn't think so. That's why. Is Ant like probably 8? Would I flip Steph and Ant now that we've like talked it out more? Maybe, but no. Like you probably should, but no, I'm not going to.
It's your list. Yeah, you can keep it how you want. But yeah.
No, but just like going to the more like objective and not obviously this whole list is subjective, but
yeah.
Objectively, probably Steph should be higher than I have him. But I think it's the age boogeyman that's like freaking me out.
Yeah.
But granted, also Steph's skills should translate to him being fine. Because when guys get old, they just learn how to shoot. But the way that Steph runs around and shoots, that's not like a old man will be fine thing. That's not probably.
Yeah, so if we were projecting forward, then yeah, I could see if you're projecting him to have a pretty big decline this next season. I understand.
Just in my head, and I guess we're not trying to
project.
The list is wumbo jumbo. It's just happening.
No, it's all right.
But
6th though, you have Embiid, right?
Yes.
And I have
for all of the reason you said, plus defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Plus his defense, which has kind of gotten a little worse over the past few years, to be honest. But it's still, he still has
had. He has the. Well, I mean, that Serbia. I think a lot of the big parts of that was the defense,
the one-on-one stuff. Yeah, mm-hmm.
And I think that also, I agree that he isn't the same game defender that he was previously. But in the big moments, I am never in doubt that if there is a block that is possible, he will somehow do it. There's only one person, not one, there's 2 people that I also think have that same you feel like they're more likely to block it than not, which is insane. And that's,
wow, you put Embiid that high with Wemby and
at the
AD
bottom of
Gobert,
the
maybe?
Yes, at the bottom of the list.
Okay.
But only in the big, he only does it sometime, in the moment that is needed.
Uh-huh.
It's like it has to recharge. He can only do it every so often.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm sure some people might roll their eyes at this, but that's literally how I feel about Jokic too.
Defensively?
Most times in the game, he'll just concede a layup or let somebody go right past him if it's the second quarter. But on a game-winning shot, I'm he's blocking that. And I fully expect it. But
no, I think just because of how insane he is offensively, and then also it's the hardest thing to shake is a bad stereotype that you're given as a player at any point.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron can't shoot threes was a stereotype, and then
now he's a 40% 3-point shooter.
He's had to shoot good, and he's been doing that for a long time. But people have just decided to concede that he's a pretty good shooter.
Well, he's past couple of years where it's kind of a different level, but yeah, he's been shooting threes more for a while now. Yeah. Since
at least at the minimum in LA, he's been a better 3-point shooter.
He's at least taking them a lot more. The past probably 2 years is when he's gotten to an insane level of he's
volume
actually
and hitting them.
Yeah, hitting them at a really high clip. So,
and then
that's massive to have with his aging curve, as we're talking about. How players are developing.
But the Steph injury, having to shake that he's injury prone and has bad ankles, that took longer than it should have. So there's just things that if you get a bad connotation about you, it just takes people a long time to shake the bad. But they'll very quickly be the good, oh, that's just a fluky season type of thing. So I think that might be part of the Jokic thing is, oh, well, he was always called not a good defender.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
and there's clearly there's points of his defense that are clear weaknesses,
yes.
But people just don't see the other things that he kind of raises the boats, of his defense.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was a tier for you. You had,
Steph, Embiid, Shea.
We agreed Jokic is one kind of on his own tier. Looking at 2 and 3, I had it 2A, 2B. I had Giannis first. Logan had Luka first. But those two were 2 and 3 kind of on their own shelf. Then the next step down was Logan had Steph, and then Shea, and then Joel. No, sorry.
Embiid 5. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I have the order wrong again. Steph, and then Embiid, and then Shea. And then mine was I threw Ant up here, and I have Shea, and then Ant, and then Embiid at 6. And then, that is where we are currently at on our lists.
Yeah.
At 7, do you have Tatum here at 7, or do you have him lower?
See, this is the part that I have it written down in an order, but I didn't feel married to this order that I have.
Don't love the order
from here on.
While you think about it, I will talk about why I, Tatum Defender, and probably if I would have just done this without super thinking, put him at like 5 or 5, maybe 4, but probably 5.
5 or 5.
Yeah, because I started thinking again. Anyway, the reason I have him at 7 is because we tried to do it going into the season and not projecting and assuming. I would, if it was just like the Olympics that he didn't shoot great from the perimeter, I'd be like, it was just a weird thing, and I wouldn't have even probably considered it. But as I said earlier, he has not really been able to hit the 3 consistently outside of random nights since February. Or January. I'm not sure like the exact line when things started to be like, what's going on? But
I started noticing things like right around the playoffs were starting. Yeah. Maybe a little bit before that. It felt like it was a little bit,
before the playoffs. But so that's like a long stretch to have issues. And maybe the offseason he'll come back and he'll be back to what he was. And the Celtics are going to push to beat the Warriors record. I don't know. Like, I don't know what craziness is going to happen.
I mean, they could. No, how much they shoot.
Also, we'll talk about this in the Celtics episode because I don't want to talk about this. My X factor for that is Xavier Tillman. Depending on how good he looks, I think is going to be a hard cap on.
How often he shoots? Is that what you're
not
saying?
Even shoots, but just how he looks when KP's out will be a huge factor in terms of like what
just their success in
their
general.
Overall win ceiling in terms of like if they're trying.
You're saying Warriors 73 wins record?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like their 3-point efficient, like the volume, like 3-pointers per game.
Oh, no, I think that because of this, we'll talk about it that'll be a fun thing for whenever we do the Atlantic episode, because that could be a little part of it. But Tatum, defense, he's evolved as a playmaker, which is the thing the Celtics did not have for the first 5 years of his career. They did, but not a great one. It's like it was always kind of cobbled together, and then he's kind of grown in that role, and I think you really saw it in the playoffs as he averaged almost a triple-double in the playoffs, led his team in points, assists, rebounds, and I think steals. One of the 3 players to ever do that, ever. The other one of those people being number 1 on this list across the whole playoff series. So I think that the shooting
you mean
is the
playoff year, maybe? Playoff.
Yeah, like the whole year. Sorry, not series. The whole playoff, like across the whole entire playoffs.
So
I shouldn't have said series.
Everybody in points, rebounds, assists, or just his team. I didn't hear how you.
He led his team
just his team. Gotcha.
In all of those categories, and won the NBA championship.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's like a lot of teams that had one guy with no. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I think LeBron's done that a couple times. Jokic is the only one who's done it for the entire league. Like he would points, rebounds, and assists, led the entire playoffs.
Across everybody.
Yeah.
But
sorry to kill your train of thought.
It's all good. He does a lot of things super right. That's why he's a top 10 player in the NBA. Just the cap that is like on his individual offense, if he can't get the shooting figured out, is the only thing that I think keeps him from being in the same tier as Giannis and Luka. Like if his shooting returns to what it was earlier and he has all these other things, you're a crazy person in my brain if you don't think that he deserves to be, even if it's at the bottom of that shelf, on the same shelf as the Giannis and Luka if he's able to actually shoot. Because of the defense that he brings, the playmaking that he brings, and the role player-esque qualities that he has at the highest level. Like one of the easiest guys to try to build a team around, which I think Brad Stevens has done a pretty good job with. So that is enough of me vomiting about my favorite player on the planet, maybe. 7 is where I have him. Yeah, I struggle to pick favorites in that realm.
Just on your Celtics in general, or are you throwing Ant in this competition?
Oh, no. Ant's nowhere near the Celtics. It's like a different shelf.
Oh, okay.
I can't remove the jersey affiliation, the team affiliation from my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in terms of how much... It's two different camps. Yeah. And it's not... It's like... I would equate it to your own children and your nieces and your nephews. You love them, but they're never going to pass your children. You know what I mean? I guess maybe you don't know what I mean, but...
Oh, man. I understand it. It's just a funny thing to say out loud or admit. You know what I mean? Okay. It's like, I don't like you as much as my, it's like, it makes sense. It's like, you're talking about your literal child, but it's also just funny to
I should rerun that back and say it clearer, because I think that would be a funny clip.
Or just like somebody else's kids. Like, I get that comparison more.
I also think it's weird to use the word love to describe someone else's kids, but you love your nieces and nephews.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine to say you love kids. Like, I love kids.
Yeah. No, that's true. Pause. Like, that like... Yeah. Quoting that it's kind of like the Michael Scott joke in The Office. Like, how
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think the quote is, I love kids. And it gets, like, put on this... I don't remember the exact moment in the episode. Yeah. It is taken down in nefarious paths and not...
Yeah, not in the wholesome way that is meant.
Yeah, it's taking down a bad path and not the way that it's like, no, kids are important. They're our most important resource, blah, 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 that politician people say. Anyway, but no, I feel like that's exactly how I feel about, like, my love of Celtics players and my love of just players that I like and, like, love. Like, oh, I love that guy. It's like your own children, no matter what happens, unless they, like, disown you and be mean to you. I guess I probably still love kids anyway. I don't know. I've never had that happen to me yet. But because then it, anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to go down this and try to psychoanalyze this anymore, because it's already more than it needed to be. But Derek White, name a Celtic outside of a couple all time, and they clear almost anybody that I've watched. A Celtic that I've watched, and they clear almost any of my other guys. Wow. Yeah.
But in terms of non-Celtics, I feel like just your love that you seem to have of, like, guys like Ant and Chet, it feels like those guys would be rivaling at least, like,
the bottom of the Celtics love tier, maybe.
Yeah, like Svi Mikhailuk, or like...
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's for sure fair.
Yeah.
But that dude chose to put on the green and ride with it for 1 year. Was it the Celtics guy? Is it the first Serbian to ever win? Not Serbian. What is Mikhailuk?
He's Ukrainian.
First Ukrainian to ever win a ring ever.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Steve Mikhailuk
and our friend of the show, Anthony Letseniuk. Yeah, who is also a Ukrainian.
Yeah, not just shout out to a random person with a slightly Slavic themed last name. He is of Ukrainian descent.
Yeah. But I guess, so yeah, 7, you have Tatum. The guy I have written down at 7 feels wrong for me to say is over some of these people.
I know who you're going to say. It's fine.
You do?
Just rip off the Band-Aid. Just do it.
I don't love any, like, I could put LeBron here. I feel like I could put AD here. I could put Booker here. I could put Tatum here. But I'm going to put KD here.
Yeah.
I don't feel great about it, but I'm putting KD here. He's the top of this tier doesn't feel like he's leading this tier. He's just the guy I'm choosing right now out of this tier, but he's going to lead off this tier for me, starting at 7. And KD, we saw him just have some insane games for Team USA. And I think is a pretty prime example of how portable he is. We kind of talked about this concept of portability, like how you were talking about with Tatum, how you can kind of drag and drop him into any context and he's just fits in pretty perfectly. KD is kind of like the pinnacle of that, because he's got such a well-rounded skill set, being able to switch and defend across positions, protect the rim for a wing pretty well. So you can play him at like a small ball 5 and get away with it quite a bit. Shooting, spacing that he provides, obviously. You can give him the ball in a late clock situation. One of the absolute best at that. It's like him, Kyrie, and Jokic or Luka probably. It's kind of like that top group of like 3 seconds left on the shot clock. Throw a grenade out to this player, and you feel pretty good about your chances. So in those kinds of moments is just like, I think that's the separator from KD to Tatum is when the ball's in KD's hands in a pinch, like I feel way more confident. You know what I mean? Tatum
about
is like
going only if he's shooting it, or just in general,
just making the right play in general.
Oh, I don't feel that way. I feel like in my brain for KD, the right play is almost always to shoot it because he's that insane.
But also how he gets to his spot is important. Like I feel like Tatum can take some pretty ill-advised shots a lot of times, especially when it's like, oh, there's not much time on the shot clock. I'm just going to settle for this step back three.
I might have Marcus Smart glasses because I like that's not that bad because of what I've witnessed.
Because Marcus Smart is the antithesis or the pinnacle of like taking some dumb shots. I give that
honor to Dylan Brooks, but granted, Dylan Brooks has never been on the stages of where Marcus Smart decided to take these shots.
Yeah.
So maybe my brain.
Dylan Brooks did it a lot in the biggest stage he's ever been at, which was against the Lakers in the second round of the playoffs or first whatever round that was. I don't even remember.
So I guess maybe because in my brain, anything like the Tatum, it's not that bad because of what I'm comparing it to.
Yeah, but that's I think one of his biggest blemishes is like instead of driving.
But I feel like in the big moments I think
he's gotten a little bit better at it, especially this past season. But like for sure, there's still like in the playoffs last year, there were some moments where it was like, okay, why take that shot there? What like
Mazzulla ball. Anyway, I don't need to justify. But
it's not like a swing open shot. It's like him dribbling the ball and then just deciding to step back into it with like a lot of time left on a shot.
And everybody knows he's going to do it because it's like telegraphed to the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like someone that's never watched basketball could figure out and deduce the rules of basketball watching before he shoots because you're like, oh, he's going to shoot this. He's going to try and make that ball.
Way he kind of loads up.
And even when he's like standing there dribbling, what he's looking at, it's like he's not like LeBron scanning
thing too. How LeBron always looks to the side before he goes up for a three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just and maybe it's just because I've watched more Jason Tatum basketball than most of the planet. That also might be part of it. But
yeah, no, for sure. But it was what I was just breaking down. Kind of reminded me of that moment in the playoffs last year where. It was like the mic'd up moment where he's sitting on the bench telling his whole team like don't settle for threes he's don't settle for just and then Doris Burke I think was the one who said like because then at the very end he was like and that goes to me too, like he said something like that and she was like I'm glad he threw in that last part about how it goes for him as well because I was about to say like of all the people to be saying that to his teammates, I don't know if Tatum's the right guy. But
no, for sure.
But yeah, so that those are kind of the things that holds me back a little bit with Tatum. Like, and he's such a good player. It's hard to. It's just like these other guys right here are all in the same type of zone. You know what I mean? It's hard to. Again, we're splitting hairs. KD has just about everything that Tatum has. And I just feel a little bit better about KD in the biggest moments. I feel way better about Tatum in terms of like over an entire season. Playing all 82 or closer to 82 games, night
doesn't
and night
get the
out.
love for that very often. Mm-hmm. Man's never really been hurt. He has like a couple times, but I think the most games he's missed in a row was like 6, and it was like at the end of last season. It's like insane.
I didn't even know that. That's crazy. But yeah, so that's how I feel about Tatum, and that's why I have KD here at 7. You have Tatum here at 7. Have you revealed that yet? I mean, you've like revealed it. But not like, have you ever made that selection officially?
I have Tatum at 7.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Is that what I said?
Yeah, I have Tatum at 7.
Mm-hmm. So going on to number 8. This is where I'm going to put the guy that I feel when I compare him to Tatum a lot of times. I feel like most people put Tatum over this guy, but this is the guy that I most commonly in my mind. I'm like, no, I just have always felt better about this guy, and that's Devin Booker.
Oh,
that's who I'm going to put here at 8. Just for kind of a lot of the same reasons I just broke down with KD, is that Booker is just like, in big moments, I feel, and with him as a facilitator, as just the guy making your decisions and big time shot making, as well as hitting from the outside, playing a role player-esque role as well, can kind of just phase in and out of that on command. I don't know. Devin Booker is just like kind of a pretty well-rounded package, pretty all-around package that a lot of people don't. I feel like not enough people give him the credit for specifically that, like how he can basically do everything.
No, chameleon into 1 through 3 seamlessly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like him in college was the 6th man at Kentucky.
Well, yeah, that's also, yeah.
Yeah, but
if you look at the Kentucky roster, it makes sense. Like at their time in college. Time in college. Also, a little bit of it was the like, sometimes it's better to like even if your backup shooting guard is your 4th best player, sometimes it's more worth to just have him come off the bench.
Yeah.
Instead of playing out, just to have the like guy on your second unit that can cook.
Mm-hmm. And he was used pretty consistently off ball in college too. Like he was not really the player that he became early on with the Suns, where it was like just give him the ball. He was like doing everything for them. In college, it was like a lot more like he played more like Clay almost. He's like a kind of just a not spot up, but movement shooter, kind of going around off ball, off the screens, catching and shooting.
Because double checking, making sure that I had the right like year of it.
Year of what?
Kentucky.
Oh, 2015.
Yeah. Cat and Willie Cauley-Stein.
Harrison twins.
Yep. The 2 Harrisons, and I feel like I'm missing one more. But maybe I'm not. Oh, Trey Lyles was on that team, but not the same.
Yeah, he would have been up there. But yeah, I'm trying to think of guards. Oh, no, wasn't there a point guard?
Marcus Lee?
I don't remember well enough.
Tyler Ulis.
That's who I was just thinking of. I was like, I wanted to say one of the Jones. I was like, no, it's not one of the Jones brothers, but it's like somebody like that in my mind.
Yep.
But yeah, Tyler Ulis, who did not pan out super well in the NBA because of how short he is, but he's a fun player to watch. Yeah. He played for the Suns for a time also. But yeah, so that's who I have at 8 is Devin Booker.
So is Tatum not top 10 on your list?
He is.
Okay.
He's top 10.
So then that was your 8?
Yep.
At 8, I kind of revealed that I had Steph at 8. And again, anything from 8 like down, I'd be willing to kind of just shuffle around and put wherever. Not put wherever, but it's like a rock, paper, scissors and situational and who you feel better about where. I have Steph at 8, and Logan already kind of makes like why Steph should be where he is. I have KD at 9 is where I had KD.
That's fair.
And then now it gets into just kind of soup, and it can be kind of whoever, wherever.
Yeah.
And so this is 9, where I kind of like slid back into. I feel like, oh, you have to say your 9. Never mind. Sorry.
At 9, I have Tatum, so this is where he falls for me. But like, I was expecting you to have Tatum at like 5 or 6 going into this, So it's not like I'm that much lower.
If he was not shooting as bad as he was, you're dang right. I would have had him there, maybe higher.
I guess my point is, I don't think that's crazy, is what I'm saying.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, Tatum I don't feel like he's that far off from Shea up at 6 or, especially KD here. Like, I could literally go either way with him and KD. It's just very small details that my brain is, gravitating toward and making sparsing these little, divisions here. But Tatum is who I'm going to put at 9. I'd feel slightly better about that than, the alternative, I guess. So, but you were kind of teeing up who you were going to put at 10 to fill out your your
This
list?
was one that kind of just like, it felt wrong to not have this name on a top 10 list.
Mhm.
It's LeBron. Like,
That's
it
what I have
felt
too.
just super, super wrong. And I get that, like, there's going to be a time where LeBron won't be, or like won't deserve to be even in the conversation.
Mhm.
But I'm not sure that when. Like, this is insane. LeBron James, if you were unaware, is insane.
Yes, he definitely is. I also felt like I should put him like higher up probably, but it's just hard to, you know. Like I was very back and forth with him and Tatum, like because it's like going into a playoff series. Who would I rather have? I don't know. I don't feel confident either way in that decision. And honestly, I kind of feel like I would, if gun to my head, I would lean LeBron still a little bit, regardless of what the team is. Like it's like, who would you rather have? LeBron's just still that dude. Like he's just done it so many times, repeatedly, has such a good track record. And as far as decision makers go, there's not. I mean, Jokic is like the only guy I'd probably put above him. Like Luka would be close, but I honestly would probably still lean LeBron on that one, which is insane, you know. So, and he's still just, he can pull that out whenever he wants to. The way he reads the game, and he still has such a. It's like he's been cryogenically frozen, you know, to preserve his athleticism. It's obviously faded a bit, like seeing him windmill dunk at 40 compared to when he would windmill dunk at like 24 is like different, but it's still like insane.
Doing it.
Yeah.
With people in the way sometimes. It's crazy.
Uh-huh. Yeah, for sure. So that's we both have LeBron here to fill out the last spot in the top 10.
Yeah.
But that's not the end of this tier for me. I have more names on this tier.
Okay. You can, because mine, I didn't do tiers. I just had a list and then a long list of honorable mentions. Mm-hmm. So if you want to continue on in this tier, I can just say like, yep, they were in my honorable mentions and kind of contribute that way.
Yeah. So I have 7 through 14 as a tier.
Okay.
Which is a pretty big one. But that's, so to fill out the rest of these guys that I was considering putting in the top 10, I do have 80, in no particular order here, 80, Brunson, Ant, and Kawhi.
So I had everything the same, except obviously I had Ant higher. Mm-hmm. And I have Book down in here who you had in your top 10.
Yeah.
All our names are the same, except I don't have Kawhi there because of the injury thing. Like if I had to like tier it in my brain, Kawhi's on my honorable mentions list.
Yeah. But he's not on the same tier as the guy that you have at 10. No,
I didn't have a consideration to put him in the top 10 because of my aforementioned injury thing.
Yeah, you just kind of ruled him out.
Yeah, I don't feel. I would like my top 10 guy to be there, like most of the time.
Yeah, like in the past 5 years, we're coming off his most healthy season he's had, which is interesting. But like then it's just right at the end of it, in the most important time of it. Once again,
that was the biggest thing. He was gone. Like the only time, arguably the whole season, they needed him to be there.
Yeah. I mean, he was really. It's hard to just discount and forget. Like I don't want to do that
what
because
he did all season. Yeah,
he had such a big year for. Like in terms of his story, it's like that was a big comeback for him. I want to get the number exactly right, but I think he was eligible for awards even, I want to say. Like at least getting the 65 game mark. Yeah, he played 68 games last season. That's like a 82 game season for most people. Kawhi playing 68 games. That's insane. He hasn't done that since 2017. 7 years.
That's crazy.
It took him 7 years back to get back to even over 60. Because Toronto he played exactly 60. But to get over that, that's the only time. So this is
the most since he was a Spur?
Yeah. By a decent amount.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And with LA, he missed an entire. I didn't realize he didn't play a single game in 2022 for the Clippers. But in the year before that, he played 52 games. The year before that, he played 57. And those have been all of his Clippers years. So,
yeah.
But 68 is it's pretty wild. A lot of players.
Hopefully it's a sign of good to continue, and maybe I'll just look like a silly goose not having him in my top 10. And for Kawhi's sake, I hope I'm right. Also, for people that are season ticket holders for the Clippers, I also hope, because you're going to get
just
80
Harden.
games of James Harden scoring 40, and you're losing most of them. Have fun.
Yeah, and they still have Terrence Mann there. There would they? It's just that makes me mad that they wouldn't let any other teams have Terrence Mann. That's where it would stop at trade discussions. It's like, no, we need Terrence Mann, but we're not going to play him very much, even though we really want him.
That would be an interesting like episode to talk about, is to do like what player's story like makes you the most mad because of how the treat. Like previously, it would have been Alex Caruso for me. The Bulls just like, we'll keep him. Mm-hmm. Like, really? Like, he could go be an actual, like, over the line, they win a championship because he's there instead of not. And you're just going to let him be there for the play-in?
Yep.
Thanks.
I think my biggest example of this, remember just a few months, like, not even a year, it's like 6 months ago probably, when the Brooklyn Nets turned down a deal from the Houston Rockets because they wanted to hold on to Mikal Bridges. They did not want to give up Mikal Bridges for Jalen Green and a bunch of picks. Like a pretty massive package around Jalen Green as the centerpiece, from just because they were like, no, us, the Brooklyn Nets, want to keep 27-year-old Mikal Bridges instead of going and getting like a young potential cornerstone.
This could be a whole thing. This would be a fun thing later on down the road. But
they were able to get a pretty good haul. Not like the best, but not even close to as good of a haul. But they got at least a decent rebuilding trade package to send him over to his preferred destination of the Knicks. Those are my top 14. The other names I have written down just to like when I was trying to like, piece this all together and throw names.
Make sure you didn't forget anybody, just threw names up.
Yeah, I had Jimmy Butler.
Yep.
Ja Morant. I feel like I forgot
about Ja. I like it, not as a top, but like I just forgot.
I mean, I had Ja at 8 a couple years ago, I remember. Like in my mind, I was like, where I'm just not on a podcast, but like mapping out like where I have people. Ja at his peak for me was probably like 8. Like he's probably like around where Ant is now for most people. You know what I mean? Like it's just, without him, kind of the Kawhi thing, like him not being able to be playing, which is just kind of a weird string of things. But I don't expect it to continue much longer. I feel like he's probably going to be back to playing a lot soon and be rising up a lot of people's lists. But the thing I was just bringing up, I saw, because I looked at the Ringers list to make sure I wasn't forgetting people.
Oh.
Their most recent top 100, which I don't even know when they last updated it, but they had Ja at 30.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, that's insane. Ja Morant is 30th.
That feels high for him. If he's not playing, I guess in my brain, I'm assuming this is like in the season.
I'm saying that's insane for him to not be more. Ja Morant, when he's playing.
We are looking this at different perspectives. I just was like, he didn't play at all last year. Why would he be in last year's top one? But I understand. But 30 is way too low if he's peak. Okay, their list is
just who. It's not like right now.
Okay,
it is right now, but it's not like only based on the season. It's not an MVP list for the season.
If you're playing 2K and no injuries are on, where would Ja be at?
Basically, like the order of their rankings.
30 is insanely low. I am tracking with you now. My brain was like, he didn't even play it like almost at all. Like he was suspended and then came back and got hurt within like a
9
month.
Games.
Not even a month.
Mm-hmm.
Barely 2 weeks. Jesus Louise.
Yeah,
that would be about a month. 9 games.
It'd probably be more like almost 3 weeks, a little under 3 weeks.
But anyway, that now I am on the same page as you because I was like, why he didn't play? But yeah, if he would be in the like mid-teens to upper teens.
Yeah, for sure.
Or, I guess
I mean,
lower
if
teens.
he never got suspended, I don't know.
Who knows?
He could still be up at like 7 or 8 or higher. I don't know. He could be the Shea. I don't like. Who knows?
He could like be in that same tier for sure.
But to continue my guys though, I have Donovan Mitchell next after John Morant.
I have him up here.
On this podcast, we've kind of not been the biggest Donovan Mitchell fans, especially the guy
I just am not.
Yeah. But I do think that he's in big playoff moments. He's come through a lot of times. And I just feel like he's definitely not too far behind a lot of these, like, Tatum and Booker and like he has to be on the tier right below whatever tier that is, so
the bottom of the tier or the tier right below them, I think is fair.
Yeah. So then I have him, and then Victor Wembanyama is a name I had written down. I'm for this list. We're kind of, not like we've said, we're not projecting. So projecting, who knows? Wemby, you could use your imagination to put him most places on this list.
Yeah.
But I just figured I'd leave him off of it for now because we want to see him prove it, actually get to that place, which I fully expect. I think it's very possible, that he could be this next season, be a top 10 player. And then Jaylen Brown, I have as a next name, Tyrese Halliburton, Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, and Damian Lillard.
Okay, I'm glad you had Dame on there because that was my one that I had in my honorable mentions. I was like, I've been big down on Dame, but the more and more, and it was, again, a podcast that made me start thinking about it. Dame's situation was the worst possible last year.
Yeah, I also forgot about Zion. I didn't write him down, but he should definitely be.
I thought about Zion, but the injuries, everyone got an injury tax, and Zion's might be the steepest. So I was like,
more than Kawhi's?
Okay, maybe not the steepest, but yes. Yeah. He was hit with the injuries stick. I was like, nope, I'm not gonna even sticking to my truths of being anti-injury, high injury prone guys I'd put lower no matter what. So in a vacuum, Zion healthy is terrifying. But need to see it for honestly 60 games, I'd be pretty pumped. Like a fully healthy Zion for that many games would be cool.
Which I know he had the best season in terms of that. Yeah, he played 70 games last year. Zion
full games?
70. 32 minutes a game.
News to me.
Really?
That feels
That's
wrong.
why the Pelicans were they were way better than you would think. Like,
and again,
they won 49 games.
He just didn't play in the playoffs the whole time.
Well, he played in the play-in. But he got injured in the crunch time of that game against the Lakers, and that's why they lost. Which is insane that a 49-win team was in the play-in.
No, the West is good.
Yeah.
The West is very good.
They were 7th, but they were playing the Lakers, and that like he was dominating, and nobody else showed. Like Brandon Ingram was garbage. CJ McCollum was garbage, except for like one shot late, basically. And then Zion was like, I'm sorry. You know what Zion's middle name is?
No.
Lateef.
That's cool.
It's Lateef. Lateef.
The Nebraska has a incoming quarterback. I think that's his last name.
Interesting.
I think it's TJ Lateef.
That's a cool name.
That's actually hilarious.
His only listed nickname on Basketball Reference is Xanos, which I've heard before. I know.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised that he doesn't have any other ones. I would think like Guns and Buns.
I've heard people call him like, is it the Big Hunger or something like that instead of the Big Ticket?
I've never heard that one, but that would make sense. I've heard Guns and Buns a lot. So I'm surprised they don't have that here on Basketball Reference. But Xanos is a BA nickname. I'm not gonna lie.
Another fun episode in the future. the toddler draft. NBA players that remind you of toddlers the most. It's how he runs.
Zion
the way
and
Tyrese Maxey looks.
Yeah.
There's just like a couple people that I could like. The way
Anthony
LeBron freaks out when he doesn't like calls. That feels very toddler-esque.
Anthony Simons, I feel like.
Or
to
we
me,
build the
has kind
ultimate
of a-
we build the ultimate NBA player trying to make them emulate a toddler.
What?
So like you build it's like a build a player. So they have the face of Tyrese Maxey.
Oh, like physically. Okay.
The run of Zion, the temperament of LeBron after a bad call. Who's somebody that got stubby arms in the NBA?
Desmond Bain.
Desmond Bain arms.
Yeah, he's one of the only players with a negative wingspan.
What's another like funny build? Someone that's kind of just built toddler-esque. Maybe it's Zion twice. Just kind of just that like, just.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Or if Jokic was still fat Jokic would have been a good contender for the toddler bod, but he's slimmed down too much.
Kenny Lofton Jr. Who's David Roddy? Might be in there.
This is an interesting exercise.
Big body Roddy. But anyways, yeah. So that should probably. Did you have any other more honorable mentions to toss out?
Nope. You hit all of the ones that I had written down. One thing I do want to mention is I'm proud of you because your list went pretty deep.
Oh, me?
I thought you were going to throw Jamal Murray on there, but you didn't.
I feel like I'm way lower on Jamal than most non-Nuggets fans are.
Well, no, I know. I just am saying that you went pretty deep into the depths of the NBA's upper echelon.
Yeah,
and
I feel like
you could have thrown him in on the end. You could have, but you didn't. Like
yeah,
I almost
you wouldn't
didn't
even
put
be the next name for me. I would say Fox. I'd say Sabonis over him. Maybe
Derek
even
White?
Siakam.
I'm just kidding. That was a joke. I
don't think that's that crazy.
Really? Oh, you are off on individual.
As a best player on a team, Jamal's way better than Derek White. Don't get me wrong. But I give a lot of credence to like somebody who's really good at a role, like deserves
being
to be
the best
even
at
though
the role. Yeah.
Even though they don't play the same role as like a star, I feel like they're almost more valuable because it's like you don't want everybody to be a star on your team. You need some of the Derek Whites.
You need the Josh Harts and the Derek Whites.
Exactly.
And the
OG Anunoby.
Anunobys. Honestly, everyone that's not Jalen Brunson on the Knicks, all of them.
Yeah.
Just all of them.
Except for Julius Randle.
Which, that's my other thing. Actually, no, I'll talk to you about it when we're done with this episode.
Okay. It's going to be a secret topic.
It's not that secret, but it's just
not for
it's
the
future
ears.
crafting, and they can wait until they experience it.
Okay.
In podcast form, audio or video.
Can people, our Patreon subscribers, be expecting a Tidbit Theory episode for this week's episode?
We will sit down and record. Me and Logan will talk after, and we're gonna sit down and record a Tidbit Theory. I'm not gonna do it today because I'm a tired boy. I have done. I'm failing you, Patreon subscribers. But that was another successful episode of Hoop Theory. Shout out to the Truth, Paul Pierce, the real GOAT. If you've ever watched Game of Zones,
yeah.
Thanks for being here with us. Being patient as we've had some trials and tribulations in the illness category as well as just travel. It's been a busy one. We're excited for the season to get kicked off. Coming soon, we will be doing breakdowns of each of the divisions. So if you're just a die-hard, what's
Pelicans.
the team we never talk? Pelicans fan, and today's Zion talk wasn't enough for you? Well, I got good news. When we go through this, I almost called them the Southeast Division. Silly me. When we talk about
Southwest.
just the West?
Southwest.
Oh, the Southwest, which feels silly because you're in the Southeast.
It's not like the Arizona, New Mexico area. It's like the Texas and Memphis and New Orleans.
But we will talk about them and other teams in Memphis if we don't talk about you guys enough, which we don't, other than Jaw Talk today.
The Kings is one that's one of the ones that comes to mind for like our fans have brought them up a lot. Like we need to talk about the Kings, but we never do.
Well, everyone will get their time in the sun, and we will intentionally place a timer on ourselves for both Boston and Denver so those don't take up the whole episodes of those two teams because We
we'll
talked
be
about
talking
them a lot.
plenty. Yeah.
Anyway, that is going to do it for us. Logan already did everything else, I think. Hooptheory.com/Patreon. You can get tidbit theories. There's a couple up there. We'll get more on there. Buy me a coffee /Hoop Theory. Also, like, subscribe, and comment if you're listening this far on YouTube. Or if you're not listening on YouTube, mosey on over there and hit the subscribe button. Or give this a 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, 1-star rating. Just a rating in general. Because we really appreciate knowing what everyone thinks. And email us at I'm going to forget it again. hooptheory.mailbag@gmail.com, because we would like to have a whole dedicated mailbag episode, or maybe even just a mailbag question a day to open things up, get our basketball juices flowing. With that being said, Logan, do you have anything you would like to tell the beautiful viewers and listeners?
Just that I would like them to stay happy, stay healthy, and we will talk to you guys next episode.
Peace!